What's up, guys? Welcome back to the BSGL. Today we will be going through these last 2 weeks and a half of highlights before we get into the All-Star weekend events. That will be in the next video. The All-Star game, dunk contest, Rising Stars game, and three-point contest will all be next video. But today we've got 3 quick weeks to get through in February. So without further ado, we will head right into week 1, and at the end of the week, or sometime soon, we will figure out who our all-star captains will be. So that'll be fun. Or not captains, teams, excuse me, sorry. So for our first game on the week, I wanted to see this Anaheim Royals team go at a Boston team that was very hot at the beginning of the year, and the Royals have been really hot as of recent. So I wanted to see, you know, that nice from the start to now, which team was better. As we can see so far, it has been the Royals clearly, as they're up to an 11-0 lead to start the game. We saw Kenny Dimes get it open with a nice and one, as here he is in the mid-range, putting it up to a 13-0 lead. 2:49 into the first quarter, or 2:49 left in the first quarter, and the Hilltoppers get their first basket. Here's Parker Puff hitting another one, but they still only have 4 points with 50 seconds left. Parker Puff gets a steal here. He's headed at the rim. He'll jam, or well, I guess he won't jam. He'll put this one in for 2 more, but they had 6 at the end of the first, or 9 at the end of the first half, or first quarter. Whoops, good lord, I can't really talk. As we see Kenny Dimes get 2 more, and here he is on a nice back cut, getting yet another slam. They're up 10, now 14 later in the second. As there's a nice 3, I think that's Acock. As now back to Dimes. He's been working all game, going inside, missing it, getting his own rebound again and putting it in, as he's gotten a lot of his own offensive rebounds so far. Driving again, here he goes, throwing one up with the left, he got it. 15-point game. Another big-time slam for the Royals. They are all over this Hilltopper team, which looked dominant at the beginning of the year. So here's Leto going at the rim, and he's going to jam one home. Look at the big man drive. As there's Parker Puff putting one in as well. But they are still down double digits. As now here's Parker Puff again in the corner, early into the second half. He's got a 2. They're down just 9 now. Can they make the comeback? Well, not if Rogers keeps hitting threes like that. It's now back to a 12-point game. Now down to 10 with 3:30 left in the third. As how about that slam there from the Hilltoppers? Still a 10-point game. Another jam, this time from Parker Puff, as he gets in the elevator and goes all the way up to the top. As he threw down that ferocious jam, as Weber gets an and one here, and his team still leads by 13. So flashy dunks don't score as many points as we'd like them to, as Rich Mack gets another easy 2 on the inside. And it's a 17-point game with 4 to go. As here's Leto going coast to coast. How about the big man right there, jamming it home, as it's a 15-point game still. Here's Dimes making it 18, as that one might be the dagger with 3:20 to go. It is an 18-point game, and the Royals just went on a 10-2 run. Still an 18-point game. Rich Mack inside. He's throwing one down in the face of the Hilltopper center. Parker Puff just trying to get his team a little something back. Missed his floater, whips it out. Leto, he can hit threes too. He's having a nice little game. So he's got, well, now it's a 17-point game. How about Leto again? Why not? Another green for the big man. 14-point game, but it will definitely be a little too late. Oh, that is not how you say that. A little too late, that's what I meant. As Leto's getting 2 more on the inside. He scored like 12 points right there in the fourth quarter. But that will do it for our opening game, as the Anaheim Royals prove that they're now a true contender. So that will do it for week 1 in February. As we look at the first game on the week, the Wolfpack went to Washington and defeated the White Whales, who continue to struggle. The Negro led the way for the White Whales, 18 points. Boyd had 13, 12, and 7, 5 for 9. Shackelford led the way for the Wolfpack, 19 points. Alan Smith was 16 and 11. Nice game from him, just an assist away from a triple-double. Good win for the Wolfpack. The Titans defeated the Cobras. As for the Cobras, Stone led the way with 32 and 11 and 5. Dyson had 16 behind him, along with Kukoc. Moncrief led the way for the Titans with 23. Doug White with a triple-double, 20 points, 18 boards, 12 assists, and Figueroa had 18 points as well. Going into the last game of the day, Townhawks lose to the Goblins by 20. Goblins were led by Wade Cages, 43 points and 10 rebounds. Jameson also had 22, and Fisher had 21. Myers led the way for the Townhawks with 26 points and 12 rebounds, along with Takashiki had 25, but they still lost by 20. On February 4th, the Hilltoppers beat the Moose by 21 in Minnesota. Banks led the way for the Moose, 28 points, 12 rebounds. Hanlon had 14, and Farmer had a nice double-double. Parker Puff led the way for the Hilltoppers, 35 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists. Bowen had a double-double as well. Big-time performance from Puff. The Royals beat the Hustlers really bad by 38 in Baltimore. Abdul Wahad led the way for the Hustlers with 21 points. Duncan had 18 and 8, probably his first non-double-double of the year. For the Royals, Rich Mack led the way with 32. Kenny Dimes had 29, 11, and 14, and Weber had 28. And Van Breda Kolff had a double-double down here as well. Huge game from the Royals. On the 5th, the Hustlers lose yet again to the Cobras. The Cobras defeat them by 16. Kukoc led the way for the Cobras with 24. Stone with a triple-double, 23, 10, and 10, and Dyson had 22 as well. For the Hustlers, Natchbar led the way with 35. And Duncan was all the way down here with just 3 points and 15 rebounds. For the Townhawks, that's their name, good lord. They lose another one by 30. They've been getting blown out all year. Achille Antonov led the way for the Flamingos. 25, 12, and 10. A nice triple-double. Kanye Jordan had 23 as well. As for the Townhawks, Somerton led the way with 23 points. Myers just had 12 and 7, and they lose yet again. They might be getting the number 1 pick in the draft. As the White Whales finally got back in the win column and defeated the number 1 ranked Shift, as Jones led the way for the White Whales, 32 points, and we see that Boyd was down here with just 5 and 13, but somehow they got the win without him. Long led the way in scoring for the Shift, 21 points. And where is Foster? Foster down here with just 4 and 4, not his best game at all. On the 6th, the Brigade lost to the Cougars by 12 in Charlotte. Hakibono Sheng with 23 points, 19 rebounds, a nice game from him. As for the Brigade, DeJuan Jones led the way with 16 points and 17 rebounds. They didn't even have anybody crack 20. The Enforcers went to Dallas and defeated the Wranglers by 9, as Lamar Shelton led the way with a 30-point, 14-rebound, 12-assist triple-double. Lamar Outlaw tacked on 17 as well. It's a huge game from Shelton, as Morris led the way for the Enforcers with 23 and 15. Will Trust behind him with 21. As we see the Townhawks lose yet another game in Orlando, Hayden Oakley led the way for the Apollos with 21 points, 10 rebounds. And for the Townhawks, Somerton and Harrington led the way with 24 and 21. Myers down there with just 12 and 8. For the Huskies, they went to Cincinnati and defeated the Bulldogs by 11. Jolly Harper with 22 points. Armstrong with 20. For the Huskies, Owen Bradley with 33, 13, and 8. Nice game from him, but they did take the L. On the 7th, the game we just saw, the Royals end up taking this one by 21 points. Leto led the way for the Hilltoppers with 23 points, 11 rebounds. Puff with 21. 0 for 7 from outside. That's not what you want to see from Puff. Kenny Dimes led the way for the Royals with 31 points, 10 rebounds. Rich Mack had 21 and 19, and Rogers tacked on 24 as well. As next, the Wolfpack went to the Huskies and got yet another win this week. So that's probably the most that they've won in 1 week at 2. They win this one by 6 as Boomshay led the way for the Huskies with 23. Owen Bradley had 18, 8, and 6. Not a bad game from him. Cartwright led the way for the Wolfpack with 21 points, Shackelford with 17, and Allen Smith with 14 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists. The Enforcers went to Houston and got a 15-point win as Dandridge led the way for the Predators with 19 points, 11 rebounds. Kevin Ball had a triple-double with 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 14 assists. As for the Enforcers, Will Trust had 23 points, Morris with 19 and 13, a nice game from him, and they get the W. The Pioneers took a home loss to the Pandas by 26, as Shaw led the way in scoring for the Pioneers with 24. Cunningham behind him with 16, and Spears had 15, 7, and 5. For the Pandas, Midas Khan led the way with 29 points, 13 assists, and was a rebound away from a triple-double. Hayes behind him with 20. As we go into the 8th, the Sharks take an L to the Titans by quite a few. I think that's 19. Manchuanga led the way for the Titans with 21. Moncrief with 19. We see Doug White had a double-double down here with 13 points and 22 rebounds. Quentin Pope led the way for the Sharks, 23 points, 14 rebounds. Ellis Jr. with 22, and Tatum with 10 and 13. A nice double-double from him, but they did lose. The Sting go to Oklahoma City and escape with a win by 1 point, as Towers led the way for the Bison with 32 points. Fung had a nice double-double with 17 points and 12 rebounds. Quigley led the way for the Sting with 19 points, Brian Williams with 19 and 10, and Lions all three with 19 as they pick up the W. For the 9th, we see that the Bison went to the Blaze and took a 31-point L as the Blaze scored 159 points. Most of that was because BJ Riley had a 54-point game. Johnson had 27 and Richmond had 22, as we see Pittsnuggle got a double-double without even getting 10 points. Bates led the way for the Bison with 34 and 10, a nice double-double from him. Strawberry had 20 as well, and we see that Fung only had 12. For the Flamingos, they took a 24-point L in Charlotte, as Akibono Sheng was too much to handle with 26 points, 16 rebounds. Carvacho had 16 and 10 as well. So nice games from them. Stackhouse led the way for the Flamingos with 24, as Achille Antonov had another triple-double, almost 20 as across the board. He had 19 points, 19 assists, or 19 rebounds and 20 assists. Huge game from Achille Antonov. As we see, the Predators are now below 500 as they lose this one to the Shift by 50. Holy cow. They scored only 10 points in the third quarter as they lose. Wow, they lose big. Nasir Little. Whoops. Had 20 points for the Shift. Foster had 19 and 11. Cousins had 19 and 13. And Long had 14 points and 14 assists. Some big games from them. For the Predators, Ball had 13 and 10, and Dandridge had 16, and that was about it. As the Pioneers could not get back on the win column, they lose their next game by 17 at Memphis. As for the Knights, Bohannon led the way with 30 points, 12 rebounds. Heinsohn had 20 and 9. Baxter had 19. For the Pioneers, Shaw led the way again with 28 points, and we see that Spears is down here with 10 and 10, a nice double-double, and Cunningham had 19 and 11. The Townhawks, surprise, surprise, lose yet again, this time by 10 to New Orleans. Kahn led the way for the Pandas yet again, 27 points, 19 rebounds, and 9 assists. He always seems to be very close to a triple-double, but never quite gets it. Newman with a nice 23-point game as well. For the Townhawks, Somerton led the way with 22 points. Myers had 18 and 10. Takashiki had 18, and Valentine had a double-double. Next, the Moose went to Utah to play the Buzz and got a 2-point win. DeAndre Johnson led the way for the Buzz with 34, 8, and 9, and Wagner was behind him with 26. For the Moose, Farmer led the way with 30 and 13. Big game from him, and Banks had a double-double as well, along with Gilbert with 16 and 13. The Royals took an L in overtime to the White Whales as the White Whales finally get back in the win column. They win this one by 4. Jones leads the way for the White Whales again with 22 points. M. Boyd had, who is this Jones? Got to Deion Jones. Boyd had a nice 21-point game along with Donegro, and Hefflinger had a double-double. So we see Kenny Dimes had 32, 15, and 9, and Mack had 28, 12, and 6, and Tinkle had 18, 13, and 4 as they do lose. Van Breda call for yet another double-double, as that will do it for this week of highlights. But we did have the All-Star teams. Or else I guess we can look at Player of the Week too. Player of the Week for the first full week in February, Akibono Shang wins for the East, and BJ Riley wins for the West. No surprise there since he had the 54-point game. As now we can look at the All-Star teams. They have been announced. Obviously, they're all just one-time All-Stars. This is our first season. But the starters for, I guess that they did the draft. Whoops, I'm going to probably switch that to East versus West next year. But the starters for Team Ivan Heinsohn, obviously the captain. He will start at the power forward. DeAndre Johnson will start at the probably the small forward. Evan Stone at the point guard. Hayden Oakley at the center. And then I would guess Lamar Shelton would be at the shooting guard. As their reserves are Owen Bradley, Will Trust, Alan Smith, Doug White, Akibono Shang, Parker Puff, and Midas Khan. No surprises there. The starters for Team Achille. Obviously, Achille Antonov, he's been MVP caliber player all year, been absolutely destroying the competition. He'll probably start at the power forward. BJ Riley will most likely start at the shooting guard. Wade Cage at the small forward. John Francis at the center because he's 7'7", and then M. Boyd at the point guard. Their reserves are Denzel Spears, Brian Williams, DeJuan Jones, Kevin Ball, Rob Duncan, Kenny Dimes, and Quentin Pope. As that does it for your All-Star teams. As that does it for Week 1 highlights in February as well. Into our second game on the week, and we have two All-Star starters going at each other, as this is BJ Riley and the Arizona Blaze against Lamar Shelton and the Dallas Wranglers. As we see Riley stripping Shelton here right off the bat. He's going to go at the rim. Looked like a foul, but no call, and he's got 2 points. 2-2 now, Riley with the ball again. He gets a step on Witherspoon and throws it down in the face of the big man. 2-point lead for the Blaze. There's a mid-range bucket, no good. Copeland's got the board, and he's jamming one home with the right hand and the foul. He would miss the free throw. Here's Shelton, shot clock winding down, throwing one up over his head with the right hand. He gets it to fall, and they're going at each other here early. Lamar Shelton gets found, or Outlaw, whoops, mixed up my Lamars, gets found on the inside, and he's going to throw one down, but it is nothing in comparison to that Copeland jam that we just saw. 8-8 now, and Riley's got another steal on Shelton. and he's going to go at the rim. Puts a killer crossover on 34. What are you doing? He cannot get back in time, and Riley is feeling himself out there at the three-point line as he nailed that one and did a nice little sidestep in front of his own bench. And there's Lambert getting one back, and it's 13-13. Whoa. Lamar Shelton, high arcing floater here. He gets one to fall, puts his team in the lead. After 1 of 2 at the line for one of the Blaze, how about Shelton throwing down the cradle jam? As here's Riley, other end, going at Outlaw, just bully balling him on the inside, and his team's back to a 1-point lead. Here's a steal from the Wranglers, and it will end in a big-time jam. As now it is a 2-point game. Riley, crossover in the mid-range, and he knocks down the bucket. That is a killer crossover from the Ginger BJ Riley. Lamar Shelton with a nice jam here as well. He's been throwing him down all game as he puts the nice stutter step on here and then lays it in with the left. 6-point game. Riley way too open on the break. You got to find the shooters, especially out in space. He's got 3 more. Into the second half now. Here's Witherspoon. Pittsnogle couldn't get back in time, and he throws one down. 3-point game now. Here's Lambert for 3. He got another one. 6-point lead for the Wranglers on the road. Now a 4-point game. Riley puts a move on Shelton and throws it down. Lamar Shelton has been getting terrorized by Riley this game. As here's Shelton putting on a Kobe Bryant fader in the mid-range. How about that shot from the big man? As here's an even better shot. Alabaster goes behind the back and then puts it up. Who knew Steph Curry was 6'10"? As that's who Alabaster looked like right there. As we see Riley putting in a nice mid-range shot. Would have been nicer if it would have been a 3. 4-point lead now for the Blazers. We see the capture glitch a little bit there, and Shelton still gets the shot to fall. How about this lob to Copeland? He needs to be in the dunk contest. That man can fly. As here's Riley putting on some moves. Just has to put up a shot with 50 seconds left. No good. Pittsnogle's there, and he makes this a 9-point lead for the Blaze. They get the ball again after a stop. Here's Blackshear putting one in, and it is an 11-point game, and that is how it will end as the Blaze defeat the Wranglers at home. Checking out some box scores on the week. On the 11th, the Goblins went to Brooklyn and took an L to the Cobras by 8 points. Dyson led the way for the Cobras with 35 points, 12 rebounds. Evan Stone with 28 and 13, and a nice double-double from him. Jameson led the way for the Goblins with 27. Wade Cage was down here with 10 and 15. The Brigade went to the Flamingos and took a 14-point loss. Stackhouse led the way for the Flamingos with 31 points. Cauley Stein had 19, and Kelly had, of course, another triple-double with 16, 13, and 19. For the Brigade, Woodard led the way with 23. Lumpkin had 21. And Jones had only 9 and 13. The Cougars went to the Skyliners and took a 10-point L as Westerman led the way for the Skyliners with 27. Jean Francis down here with 15 and 20. As for the Cougars, Akibono Shang 28 and 13. Not a bad game from him. Kabar Kappa, I always forget how to say his name, had 20 as well. And Adams had a double-double down here. Going into the next game, I wanted to look at how many blocks Jean Francis had. That's my bad. An 18-point win for the Huskies as they beat the Red Hot Royals. Owen Bradley led the way with 36 points. Boomshay had 22. Raven had a nice double-double with 13 and 10. For the Royals, Rich Mack led the way with 26 points. Kenny Dimes did not have his best game with only 10 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. As the Pioneers went to the Predators and beat the Predators, as the Predators continue to lose games. For the Predators, Walter Kimbrough with 28 points. Ball with 14 and 11. For the Pioneers, Shaw led the way with 34. As we see that Spears was down here with just 9, 10, and 7. On the last game of the 11th, the Sting take an L to the Hilltoppers in Boston as Sullivan led the way for the Hilltoppers with 22, and Puff was down here with 9, 10, and 11, a double-double, but was just 1 point away from a triple-double. For the Sting, Lions led the way with 17 points. Williams had a 14-point, 12 rebound, 11 assist, triple-double, a nice game from him, but they did take the L. Didn't have any games on the 12th, so we move into the 13th. The White Whales take an L to the Predators by 6 in Houston, a very low-scoring affair for both teams, as Dandridge led the way for the Predators with an 18-point, 11-rebound double-double, and Ball was down here with 10, 8, and 9. For the White Whales, Hefflinger led the way with 14 points, Guerrero had 12, Butterfield had 11, and Emboyd only had 5, 5, and 5. Not what you want to see from an all-star starter. The Cobras went to Minnesota and took a 27-point L to the Moose, as Love led the way for the Moose, 26 points. Gilbert had 24 and 14 and 7, a nice game from him, as Farmer had a double-double as well. Evan Stone led the way for the Cobras, 31 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. Nice game from him, and Bajza had 23 as well. On the 14th, the Sting lost yet again This time by 23 to the Cobras, who just lost to just beat the Whitewater. I don't know if they won or lost. I can't remember. I have a horrible memory. 39 points for Evanstone, 34 for Dyson, 14 assists for Evanstone as well. They led the way in the victory. For the Sting, Brian Williams, 20 points, 12 rebounds. Nice game from him. Clark had 18 as well. The Goblins went to Charlotte and escaped with a win by 1 point, beating the Cougars. As Akibono Sheng led the way for the Cougars, 23 and 18. Not a bad game from him. As Jamison led the way for the Goblins yet again with 30 points. Wade Cage with 29 and 6. Abdulaziz down here with a double-double as well. The Legends took a hard L to the Bulldogs by 30 points in Cincinnati, 100 to 130. Massenburg led the way for the Bulldogs with 35 and 16, and Armstrong had 33 behind him. Trent Beretta had a double-double as well. Reggie George led the way for the Legends, 25 points, 19 rebounds, and there wasn't really a whole lot to show for the rest of the team. Townhawks lose yet again. Surprise, surprise. They are really tanking for that number 1 overall pick. As we see, they lose this one by 21. Davis Reitzel led the way for the Bison with 23 points. Lou Fung also with 23 and 15 rebounds. As for the Townhawks, Takashiki had 20, and Zaner Myers was down here with 16, 8, and 6. For the Knights, they go to Boston and take an L to the Hilltoppers as Parker Puff drops a 50-point game. That a boy Parker. Nothing really else to show for the rest of the team but 50 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. A huge game from Parker Puff. As for the Knights, Heinsohn 28, 10, and 7. Not a bad game. Baxter had 21 as well. And Zegaranovich had 9 and 10. Almost had that double-double, but not quite. On the 15th, the game we just saw, Blaze ended up winning this one by 19 after the stats doubled or whatever they did. They did their simulating to real minutes. BJ Riley had 32 points. Pittsnogle with 21 and 19. And Copeland had a double-double as well down here. Shelton with 24 and 14. Not really sure why he took 5 threes. He missed all 5 of them, and Outlaw had 16 points. Bulldogs lose this one to Minnesota, as Minnesota was red hot this week. For the Moose, Love led the way again with 23 points. Benefield and Holmes, but that 17, and Gilbert was down here with 15 and 13. Armstrong led the way for the Bulldogs, 26 points. Beretta had 21 and 11, and DJ Charlie Harper. They all scored above 20, but did take the L. On the last day of the week, the Moose finally lose a game to the Royals, as they win this one by 14. Rogers led the way for the Royals as he had 27 points. Dimes also had 27 and 13, and Rich Mack put in 24, and Van Breda-Kolff put in 22. Some pretty big games there from the Royals. Love led the way for the Moose yet again. He's been red hot this week. That is Walter A. Love. 30 points for him, 20 for Banks, and 17 and 16 for Farmer. So we see Gilbert was down here with 16, 8, and 6. As that does do it for this week of action. As we look at the season awards, Player of the Week goes to Parker Puff and Ivan Heinsohn. No surprise there from Parker Puff. He, dropped a 50-point game this week. So that's that'll do it. As that does it for this week of highlights, and we will head into our Week 3 game. For our last game before the All-Star break, we have the Memphis Knights hosting the Denver Goblins. As we see that I thought that was Takashiki. That is not. That is Kwang, or King, whatever his name is. So he goes to the hole. He throws one down. Wade Cage throws one down even later. It is 10-6 Goblins. How about that feed to the inside to Whitney? A nice jam after a great press. How about this man inside dancing? No idea who that is. He goes around the back and nails the mid-range shot. As here's a floater getting put up, and Tillman comes in and throws down the putback jam. As here's Bohannon, he's going inside. Good pump fake. Gets Jamison off his feet. Dishes it to Heinsohn. He's got his first 2 points of the half. As we were already into the second half, so it was just 21-20. And those were Heinsohn's only 2 points of the half. But we see him getting going here in the third with 1 quick bucket, maybe 2. No, but Wallace is there to get the board and jam it over Wade Cage. As here's Heinsohn again. How about the nice shuffle pass to Wallace, who throws down yet another one. Knights now up by 7. Here's Kwang. No good. Jamison with the putback, though, back to a 3-point game. Inside Bohannon, no good. Heinsohn, board, and he's dunking all over the small point guard. 5-point game now. Here's Fisher inside as he goes up, and that's getting blocked by Heinsohn. Heinsohn on his game now in the second half. Here's Red in Heinsohn's face. He nails a 3, and it's 32-32 with 1:21 to go. Here's Heinsohn, mid-range, no problem as he nails the fadeaway. As he brought it up this time, and he flies right around Jamison and slams one home, and look at the look on Wade Cage's face as it says it all. 4-point game. Bohannon mid-range, no good. Heinsohn rebound. He goes back up and 1. The foul goes on Whitney, And Heinsohn nails the free throw. It is a 7-point game. Now it's back down to 3. Heinsohn, mid-range again. Got another one. 5-point game. Back up to 7. Here's Whitney inside to Jamison. What a pass. Tillman got lost. Well, that might have been Wallace. I can't really tell the difference between them. It was Wallace, but Wallace gets him back on the other end. As it is a 10-point game with a minute to go. Wade Cage throws one down on the smaller man. As here's Quang inside. Nice little hop step. And maybe the Goblins aren't quite out of it yet. 6-point game. But after a foul, they would end up losing this one by 7. So here we are checking out some box scores for that last half little week before the All-Star break. The Knights just defeated the Goblins by 12. We just saw that game. Wallace with 29 and 27, a huge game from him. Heinsohn had 27, 12, and 5 blocks. Big game from him as well. Whitney led the way for the Goblins, 18 points. Jameson had 17 and 23, a nice game from him as well. The Buzz defeated the Hilltoppers by 11 in Utah. As we see, Wagner led the way for the Buzz with 18 and 13. Johnson had 14, 5, and 10. For the Hilltoppers, Parker Puff again led the way with 23, 13, and 7. Hollenkorn behind him with 18. That was a nice little burp I just had. The Shift go to New York and defeat the Skyliners, still pretty much the top team in the league. Record-wise, Sharp led the way for the Skyliners, 19 points. Sean Francis with 19 and 15. For the Shift, Long led the way with 33 points. Haley had 18, and Cousins and Foster both with double-doubles. The Sting defeat the Hustlers by 18, 10 to 11, as we see that Natchbar led the way for the Hustlers with 22 points, Babcock with 18, Duncan with 14 and 19. For the Sting, Quigley led the way with 18, Richardson had 18 as well, Williams down here with 16, 12, and 9. The Apollos went to the Flamingos in the battle of the starting all-star centers and beat them by 12. Stackhouse led the way for the Flamingos, 26 points. Jordan had 15. And we see that Achille Antonov had easily his worst game of the season with just 8, 6, and 7. I think that is the first game where he did not have at least 10 in one category, only played 21 minutes. For the Apollos, Hayden Luca led the way, 31-14, clearly got the better of Achille, and Brown put in 20 as well. Nothing on the 19th, and then the day before the All-Star break, the Sharks lose to the Hilltoppers by 20 in San Diego. Goodrich Butler led the way for the Sharks with 18 points. Tatum was 16. And for the Hilltoppers, Parker Puff put in 45, 10, and 5. He has been on an absolute tear here right before the end of the All-Star break, as the Flamingos got a win back after losing that game to the Apollos in Chicago. Will Trust led the way for the Enforcers with 20. Mosley, McAfee had 20 as well, and Sanders all had 20. Morris with a nice double-double down here. Stackhouse led the way for the Flamingos. This game he's been red hot, and Achille Antonov got back to his triple-double ways with 23, 25, and 10. The last game we had before the All-Star break, the Huskies took an L to the Cobras. As we see, Evan Stone had 32 and 10, a nice game from him. Kukoc behind him was 16. Bradley and Justice both put in 16 as well for the Huskies, but they did take the loss. So that will do it for this little, I guess, I don't know, this isn't February highlights, but the first 3/4 of February before the All-Star break. So I will see all you guys during the All-Star break. Hope to guys catch you there. That will be a fun little video of, we'll have the Rising Stars game, dunk contest, three-point contest, and All-Star game. Don't forget to submit a prospect if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.